Okay, so welcome to day four, actually, of our 5-day energy reset. Hopefully, you're feeling a little bit more energy and um, commitment to your practice after 3 days in a row. And I wanted to start today. I just found this really amazing book called Wise Power. Kind of goes a little bit with my book, Roots and Wings, which is a little more geared towards midlife. What I'm going to read to you, this is all about menopause. And of course, this class is for women in menopause. So I thought I would read this bit to you, chapter 5 on power for the sake of the world, and becoming a leader. So find a comfortable seat wherever you are and settle in. Do any moves that you need to do to arrive on your mat in your practice. Maybe it's some sound. Hmm. So she says, like all initiations, menopause can be tough. And this goes for menopause and beyond, I feel like. And you'll want to run and hide and do your utmost to sidestep it. And I think this is appropriate for anything that we're really running from in our lives. You may now appreciate that the only way out is through. If the experience of betrayal is in the moment when menopause throws down its great initiatory challenge, finding your authority and purpose is the outcome if you choose to accept and rise to the challenge. It grows your wise power. Claiming full responsibility for who you are awakens you to a new level of authority, to an experience of yourself as sovereign, to an experience of the inviolable sanctity, the inherent goodness of your own being, and therefore of all life. Your new sovereign authority means freedom, and stepping into this freedom, you also step into responsibility for cherishing all life, because you are, and life itself becomes indivisible. So we'll just close our eyes and contemplate sovereignty and becoming our own authority, becoming really a leader in our lives. And as we step into day 4 of this energy challenge, energy reset, we take that seat. And in Buddhism, they talk about women taking their seat, imagining that we're sitting on the throne of our own lives. And how incredibly powerful this is, because it's a new way of being in power. It's being in our own throne. So we'll take that seat in our bodies here to begin with, finding our breath and just contemplating the areas in your life where you've had agreements not to be in that seat. And can we take these first few moments to make an agreement with ourselves to come onto our sovereign throne as women in our menopausal years and beyond. It's almost like this feeling of arriving in our wise power, arriving in all the places we've been seeking. Here we are, just in this moment. Ah, So we'll come into our morning Bija mantra chant. And sometimes repetition, just doing the same chant, can be really powerful, deepening that chant each day. So lam, bam, ram, yam, hum, om. And of course, if you feel something else stirring in you with this creative spring energy, feel free to bring in another sound. Exhale all the way out, taking a deep breath in. Bum, bum, rum, yum, hum, om. Maybe there's one sound that needs fine tuning. Your solar plexus, rum, and you can stick with that, or your root chakra, lung. So I'm just going to do lung for this one. You do what feels good to you. Lung, 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 lung. Feeling rum, solar plexus. Rum, 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 rum. Rum, bum, rum, yum, hum, you. And then just taking it into any spontaneous sound that wants to come through. So I'll lead. Feel free to follow your own wisdom. Mhm. Rum, 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 yum, hum, lum, lum, lum. You might be able to hear it a little bit better now. Let's just do 3 rounds of lum, bum, rum, yum, hum. Deep breath in. Lum, bum, rum, yum, hum. Lam, ram, ram, yam, ham, lam, ram, ram, yam, ham. And if there's a particular mantra or sound for you that feels more potent today to take your sovereign seat, for me it's rum. You can just silently chant, or very quietly is what I meant. Chant that sound for a round. So checking in with your energy centers. Maybe it's your heart, maybe it's your root, your third eye, just seeing where you want to infuse the energy, the vibration. So I thought we could do a new breath practice, pranayama, this morning called Sitali breath. And Sitali is specifically meant to cool the emotions. And so it's a great breath practice to do in menopause, but also as we come into like the warmer months. If you ever feel your emotions kind of heated, Sitali is a great breath for that. So the way that we do Sitali is you make a straw out of your tongue and you take a sip in through your tongue. And you breathe all the way in through that straw of your tongue, and then you hold the breath, retain it, lift up on the pelvic floor. And then exhale slowly through your nose. And again, inhale, we make a straw with the tongue, just like you're taking a big, huge sip of prana. Taking in as much as you can, filling the lungs. And then as you exhale, relax the shoulders, the jaw, the seat. And last one here, we'll take a big sip in. Making that little O with your tongue. Last couple sips. And retain. And a slow exhalation all the way out. And just feel for a moment. Come back to some regular Ujjayi breaths. Yeah. Great. And then let's just come into a little havening touch here with the palms together. And then just side to side, soothing the nervous system, allowing yourself to settle here in the moment. And taking a moment to make some new agreements with yourself. So maybe you can bring to mind an old agreement, and I'll give you an example. This week, I became aware of an agreement I had with myself around, I can't get it right. I'm not going to do this. This isn't for me because I keep making mistakes. I keep failing. So that was my old agreement. My new agreement is that I am going to keep trying, and every failure gives me an opportunity to learn and grow and get back up a little bit stronger each time in whatever I'm learning, whatever the learning is. So in this case, it was technology. And so I've come into a new agreement with myself that I'm going to keep trying. And there's no failure, there's only learning from our mistakes. So maybe there's something for you that comes to mind, and just keep havening with your hands, because basically this is working some bilateral movement in the body and helps you kind of repattern those neural pathways in the brain. Yeah, so we'll just take another breath here. Another way to do this is just by taking the hands into like a little hug and just lightly tapping side to side. So you can try both because they're both amazing. You can get that view of like the old agreement and the new agreement. And then we sit back in our sitting bones on our sovereign throne. Great. And then we'll take our hands back onto our thighs, and let's do a little movement here, just starting to get a little movement in the pelvis, going in some circles. So if there's another movement that feels better to you, go ahead and do that. Sometimes it's just forward and back, doing like more of a sitting cat-cow, inhaling and exhale. Yeah. And yeah, as I've come through menopause, I have a lot more stiffness in my hips and lower back. And so sometimes I just have to take a modified seat. And then if you're doing the corkscrew, switch the direction. Yeah. Imagine that you're just awakening that authority inside of you today, and getting to know your boundaries, where your yeses are, where your nos are. Yeah. Great. And then let's come back to a neutral position, and then let's just do a little bit of neck rolling. So choose a side to roll your neck to. And then go to the other direction. Great. And then let's bring the hands onto the chest. Gently tip your head back and do some vagal toning, moving your head to the left. As your head is tipped back, take a few breaths. And then to the right. Couple of breaths. And come back up to center. Great, and then let's make our way back onto our mats if you're not already. And we'll come onto all fours. So yesterday we did a little bit of work in the core. Today we're going to do a little more work in the chest and the shoulders, opening the heart. Okay, so that'll be the focus here in the cat-cow. So as you inhale, open your chest and go slow these first couple of rounds. And as you exhale, round the upper back. So pressing into the arms, open up the space between your shoulder blades. And then inhale, arch the back, look up. Exhale, curl and round. Inhale, arch your back. Looking up, exhale, curl and round. And just find your own rhythm here. Like you're massaging the all around your heart, your physical heart, which is really kind of more in the center there of your sternum, behind the sternum. You're massaging your heart. And then you can even go to the sides, do some side stretching here, taking the ear and hip towards each other. Right. And then come back to center. Take a big step forward with your hands. Come down into the puppy pose. And as you inhale, lift the armpits away from the floor. As you exhale, just soften your chest, soften your heart, like you're coming into this sweet devotional posture. And maybe it's again just devotion to a new agreement that you have with yourself. Maybe it is devotion to something higher or a project. Just taking a moment, being in that space, softening the heart. Deep surrender. So the heart often challenges us to surrender, to let go of our personal will. Good. And then stay low to the ground. Walk your hands over to the right. Careful not to collapse your lower ribs here. Just keep the kidneys lifting, the lower ribs knitting in. Stretch into the muscles on the side of your left waistline. Good. And then walk yourself over to the left. Oh, I feel so good this morning just to open those intercostal muscles on the right side. The latissimus dorsi. Good. Inhale, coming back to center. And let's turn the hands towards the fingers towards the knees. Slide your hips back and to the right and then forward. So we're just going to get into the forearms here, but also do a little hip rotation to the left. In the Chinese medicine system, movement to the left is often associated with the feminine. Well, the left side, not just in Chinese medicine, lots of systems. Going to the left side is associated with the feminine lineage in our family, looking to the past, receiving, all of those things. And then we move to the right, clockwise, is often associated with the masculine, moving forward, vision, getting things done, right? Action. So we want to always find balance between the left and the right. And then we'll turn our hands back and we'll step the hands forward and come right back into a downward dog. Knees quite bent here. Turn your toes to the left, hips to the right, bend the knees, and just find a little bounce here. Feeling that springiness in your joints. And then we're going to turn the toes to the right, hips to the left, heels to the left, and bounce. Find the springiness in your joints. Oh boy. And then coming back, yeah. And then we'll walk our hands all the way back to our feet here and just hang out. And another option, if it's too much on your back here, is just to come to a piece of furniture or a wall and come into a wall dog pose, which I'm going to do because it feels so good. Little less pressure on the joints too. Great. And then inhale, coming up from wherever you are, and just adjust the screen here. So we're going to go through some movement in the joints, starting at the top of the body here. So we're going to start with neck rolls, which we've already done a little bit of. So we'll just go to the right a couple of times. And then move to the left a couple of times. Great, and then coming down to the shoulders, and we'll do some shoulder loops. You can put your hands on your shoulders or just do it without the hands there. So 3 times back and 3 times forward. Great. And then we're going to do one arm at a time. So the right arm coming up and back, and you can look with your eyes as you go back, and then switch the direction. So the arm goes back, around, and forward. Great. Other side. Left arm going back. So we are working evenly the left and the right side. Switch the direction. And we're moving, in Ayurveda it's called ama, which is toxicity in the joints. We're moving ama out of the joints, which is in itself is going to give us energy. Okay, and then we'll do our wrists. And the fingers, you can get in there. Switch the direction. Yep. Great. Let's take our hands onto our ribs and see if you can do the rib cage. It's a little tricky. So you go to the left and then you go to the right. So just think rib cage. Hopefully you'll get the ribs to move. Yeah. And then we go to the hips. And there's a couple ways to do the hips. You can keep your legs straight or bend the knees. I like to keep my legs straight because I feel like it gets into a certain part of the hips that I need. To the left. Yep. Opening up that side that's all about receiving the gifts of the past, reflection, really the winter of what we just came through. And then to the right, which is more our vision, stepping forward, opening up, action. Great. And then we'll come down to the knees, so bend the knees, circle the knees to the left. And to the right. Great, and then let's come onto the left leg and circle the ankle of the right foot to the right, or the left first, and then to the left. Awesome. And then come onto the right foot and circle one way. Doesn't really matter which way you start. And then the other way. Great. And let's do our tapping. So just try not to tap the microphone. So tapping the chest, collarbones, shoulders, and just coming down the sides, tapping the stomach and spleen, over to the liver, waking up all that stagnation in the liver as we come into spring. Maybe a little extra time here on the liver. Good. Coming back to the kidneys and lower back. Tailbone down the hips, down the outer legs. Tap your feet for a moment. And come up the inside of the legs, down the back of the legs. Good. Tap your feet. Come up the front of your legs. Any other tapping that needs to happen? Let's do the hands here. Tap the hands. And then come up the inside of the left arm. Go underneath and outside of the arm. Come up the inside of the right arm. Go under where those lymph nodes are. And then coming down, tap the hands, the wrists. Yeah, maybe the head. Great. And then we'll come into our shaking. So just shake out the hands, shoulders, side to side. Maybe your hair wants to shake out a little. So we're basically, if you just think of the shaking as cultivating chi in the body. Yeah, from winter time, we get stagnation happening. So we want to move the cells, the joints, do what feels good. Any more shaking that wants to happen, and then just stop and feel. Feels so good. Just feeling the energy move. If you want to do a little sound, great. Okay. And then let's come to the front of our mats for some sun salutes. And, you know, if your body's not up for doing sun salutations, maybe you've got some stuff going on in your back, whatever. This move right here, inhaling the arms up and exhaling the arms down, is really a great move in itself. So if you don't want to fold forward, the other thing is to reach the arms up and exhale, come to the wall. Right, and spend 5 breaths here, and then you can walk the feet in and come up. There's always ways to modify, and I think that's the thing in menopause and beyond, is that we need to start modifying to meet our own needs in our own bodies. So we'll just start together here in the mountain pose, either hands together or palms up, and just taking a moment. This is a great, I love doing this, just standing at the edge of my mat, like I'm looking out at my future self. I've been doing a lot of future self visioning with my coach. And so we just see our future self. How does she look? How does she feel? Where is she? What is she wearing? What has she accomplished? Right? And just imagining that she's here with you now. She's already here. But we're seeing her as if we were her now. Such a powerful meditation. Take a moment to settle into that in your body. Yeah, so mountain pose in some ways is a power pose, right? Palms open to receive. Looking out at spring, new beginnings, new possibilities. And then we'll inhale from here. Reach your arms all the way up. Root into that image of yourself. Root into her. Reach up. And you can either just take your arms down or fold forward, knees bent. And it's okay to just come down halfway. And inhale halfway left. Exhale, we'll step our left leg back into a lunge. Bring your back knee down to the sticky mat. And from here, hands on the hips or arms up into crescent lunge. Big breath in. We'll take a cactus with the arms. So if you're standing, you can also do cactus. It's great. So if any lower back stuff or hips, modify, please. Listen to your body. And then inhale, stretch the arms up. And exhale, hands down. We'll just do a nice big open twist. So left hand can come way out in front of your inner foot. And then the right arm to the sky. I'm all about modifying, doing what works in your body. So if this doesn't work, the twisting, just keep the hands down. Okay? Work the hips. This is a great place to do a hip opener. And then we'll step back to plank pose or all fours and lower down. Good. Inhale into a cobra. Maybe start with a baby cobra where you're not coming up too high. Just looping the shoulders back. And dropping the tail, make sure that your tailbone really extends towards your heels to get the lumbar length. Then you come up. And exhale, press back through your knees and come back to either a puppy pose or a downward facing dog. Yeah, and breathe. Maybe you want to walk your dog out a little bit here. Getting the calves to open up the fascia all along the back line of the legs. Yes, and then finish out your next breath. You can come to your knees, I'm going to step your left foot forward, okay? And then inhale, we just come up into a modified lunge. It's actually nice to put a hand onto the sacrum and a hand onto the belly here. And just feel your power center for a moment. And you want to drop the tailbone and bring the pubic bone back a little until they meet somewhere in the middle, right? And you're really resting on this throne of your seat here. And then inhale, you can take the arms up if you like and either take cactus or hook the thumbs. Maybe even doing a little side stretch here. Looking up with a big breath. Exhale, come down. You can scoot your foot out and take both hands inside or take this big open twist here. Yeah. Great. And then bring your hands back down, come back to a lunge, step forward, inhaling up halfway, and exhale, fold in. And inhale, lead with your heart, sweep your arms up, and exhale. Good. Let's just swing the arms out a little bit here. Good. And then inhale, reach the arms up. And slow. Bend the knees for this one. Fold forward and inhale halfway up. Feel free to keep your knees bent. And then exhale, we'll step both legs back and just come into plank pose. So we'll do a little more core work here in the plank. Yeah, keep the navel lifting and the chest softening. And then the knees can come down and you're gonna lower all the way. Yeah. And then pick up your right leg, roll it in a little bit, the top of the leg, and then bring the top of the foot down. Pick up your left leg, roll the thigh in a little, bring the top of the left foot down. So now you've got a nice foundation, scooping your tail towards your heels. Inhale, just come up as far as you can, don't push it. And exhale, lower, press through, puppy pose or downward dog. Yeah, and breathe. Bring your attention back to your breathing. Some ujjayi breaths, so relaxing the jaw tension, the eyes, a little smile. Great, and then we'll walk nice and slowly, just walk your feet up. Hands on the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, deep bow. God, leading with your heart. Last Urdhva Hastasana here, arms up, exhale. Great, hands to the heart. Just take an integrative moment here. Notice what's different in your body as you stand. Maybe you feel a little more grounded in your feet. Yeah, and then let's go into, I'd like to start with some balancing poses actually. Okay, so tree pose. We're going to start in tree pose. So you can take your foot to the inner shin or bring it all the way up here to the inner thigh and fold your hands at your heart. Yeah, good. And we'll take a good minute here. Time us. If you need to use the wall, go for it. And totally normal for your body to be tipping around, and it's working proprioception, right? Standing on one leg. So good for us in these aging years to work on balancing poses. And the arms can come up if it feels good. Yeah. Good. Tailbone reaches towards the earth as your crown goes up. Feel that length, that stability in your roots and your wings opening literally in your shoulder blades. Yeah. Good. And then exhale, we'll release. And let's go ahead and just release the whole thing. Coming onto the other side. Stand on your right leg. Lift your foot to wherever it goes. Tree pose, Vrikshasana. Yeah. So dig your roots deep, not by pushing, but by yielding, by going down, descending with your body. And then from that, we find a natural uplift, a natural rise. The arms can come up. Eventually, you might tip your head back a little, look up. And then exhale, gently release. Good. And shake it out. You can swirl the hips a little bit. And then we'll come into, let's come into the eagle. So we're going to lift the right leg, bend the left knee. And your eagle can just start here. And then we cross the left arm over the right, right? And then the right leg crosses over the left. Okay, so you really don't have to hook your toes. I don't hook my toes anymore just because it doesn't feel good on my hips, basically. So do what feels good, right? And you come down a little bit lower. This is a great pose for focus. So if you feel really unfocused, this pose can really help encourage focus. And then inhale, we'll spread our arms. Let's actually just come right into Dikasana, the airplane. So eagle to airplane. And then coming right back up. And we'll switch sides. So coming onto the left, onto the right leg, lift your left leg. And we'll take the right arm over left here. And then go ahead and just cross it over, yeah, to where it feels good. Ideally, we keep the hips level, tailbone dropping. Yeah. If there's an area in your life you're feeling frazzled, pull it into the core. Focus in. And then as you're ready, release it out. And then where did we go from here? Oh yeah, Dikasana. Airplane. Little more balancing here. Great. And then as you're ready, release it. And we're going to just take our elbows and hang forward. Knees bend. Let it go. Good. And then we'll step back to downward facing dog. And into a child's pose. So knees apart. You can rest down. I like to sometimes just make a couple of fists and rest my forehead on the fists. Come back to your Ujjayi breath here. Great. And then we're going to make our way onto our forearms into the Great Sphinx pose. So we'll come down onto our bellies and then just come on up here. So we're going to start doing maybe a little more opening in the shoulders and the heart area. So you can start this pose here first with your feet like we did before, just grounding the tops of the feet. Find the tailbone rooting. And then shrug your shoulders a little towards your ears. Pull the chest right through the gates of the arms as the shoulders go back. And then we kind of find this little, it's almost like somebody's pulling a little string up from the top of our head. And breathe. Just come to that first edge and just breathe. Some people like to do a little quad stretch here. You're welcome to, if that feels good to you, stretching, taking a hold of your left foot for a quad stretch, and then the right. But just, again, just listening. If that's too much, just stay here. This is such a good pose in itself, the Great Sphinx. And then lower, and just stack your hands, rest your forehead. Gently sway your hips to the left, to the right, back to the left, back to the right. Maybe just a little wiggle here. Good. And then we'll bring the hands by the chest. And again, push back into a child's pose. Or you can do a modified child's pose here, which also feels kind of good on your knees. So then we're going to come into dolphin. And if you if dolphin is a little tough for you coming all the way onto your forearms, you can do it halfway here, where you're just staying on your knees. If you have a piece of furniture or a wall, you can also do dolphin here. And that way it's not getting into it's not putting a lot of pressure on the shoulders, but you're able to still work that opening of the shoulders here. Okay, so you can either do it there on a piece of furniture, a wall, or if you want to come into the full dolphin, the knees lift off the floor and you're rooting through your forearms here. It's a little more pressure on your shoulders, so please be mindful and take good care of those shoulders. And then wherever you are when you're ready, coming out again into into a child's pose. Just taking another breath or two here. And then when you're ready, coming out. Okay, so in this next one, if you have a strap, it would be good, or a sock, or anything that you can, even a piece of clothing that you can grab onto. So I'm just going to turn around and show you, and we'll just sit back on our heels. If you want to take Virasana, you're welcome to. Otherwise, just sit back on your heels. Another option is to sit on a block, and I'm sorry I'm facing behind you, but I want to show you. You'll take the strap in the right hand and drop it back, and then with your left hand, you're just going to hold on to the strap. If your shoulders are more open, you may not need a strap. Okay, so take a moment to find your way in. Yeah, good. And once you've got to that place where you're right at your edge, just settle into your seat. Find your breath. You might find that you get a little closer. Maybe your fingers actually start to touch eventually. The head can come back just a little bit so it's over the spine. You might be feeling a little burn at this point, so if you can just stay with it a little tiny bit longer. And then when you're ready, exhale. Oh, that feels good. Just take a moment to integrate. You may want to shake your shoulders out. And then when you're ready, going to the other side. So the left hand goes back. Good. I used to do this pose so much more when I was doing Iyengar yoga. Yeah, and you'll just kind of slowly make your way up the back with your right hand and down the back with your left. And then notice your rib cage, if it's jutting forward, just gently relax it. Breathe. You'll probably feel this in the front of your right arm quite a bit, your right shoulder. Last breath or two. And then gently release it. Great. All right, and then let's come out of this one. Go ahead and just stretch your legs out. And let's come one more little chest opener, and then we're going to move towards more meditation. So if you have a block, take your block back the long way. You can also just take a blanket and fold it in half and put it back behind you. Basically, you're just going to lay over something, okay? It can be just a little piece of clothing that you're laying over right between your shoulder blades. If you do have a block, it's going to be a big stretch. So you're going to hold on to your head because you don't want your head floating back there. It can be really hard on the neck. So you're just going to slowly open it up here. Yeah. Breathing in. So most of us need some sort of these postures like this that take our spine into extension, because we're often in flexion with computers and phones and driving and cooking, those things. So these are movements that take the spine in the other direction. Great. And then as you feel ready, slowly make your way out. We'll lie on our backs. Let the knees drop into each other. You should feel a really nice kind of burst of energy here inside of your chest cavity, your heart, your lungs. Yeah. One last pose I just thought of you can do if you like. You can either do a bridge pose, which you all should know by now from the 3 days we've done before, or you can tuck the hands under the outer edges of the buttocks to come into the fish pose. We press into the elbows, come up and open the chest. You don't have to bring your head back. You're still doing the pose here. If it feels good though, you can take your head back. And it really opens up the throat, the palate. Take a few breaths. That's one of those poses it's really hard to talk while you're in. So come on out to lift your head and then lie back down. Good. And again, just receive, open, breathe. We'll go right into Shavasana from here. So if there's anything you need, go ahead and grab it. And then we're going to come out for a meditation at the end of our, so we'll do a shorter Shavasana and then we'll come out and meditate. Start to relax everything in your body, starting in your face, your jaw, relaxing the skin right there on the forehead between the brows. Just soften the cranial bones. You can even take your fingertips and lightly gesture the forehead to open. Yeah. It's nice to even take the fingertips at the base of the cranium, give a little pull there, and then release the hands down by your sides. Yeah, this is the opportunity to totally surrender, totally let it go. Soften all the edges of trying and pushing and willing. I'll read you a quote by Pema Chodron from my book that I quote her on. To stay with that shakiness, to stay with a broken heart, with a rumbling stomach, with the feeling of hopelessness and wanting to get revenge, that is the path of true awakening. Sticking with that uncertainty, getting the knack of relaxing in the midst of chaos, learning not to panic. This is the spiritual path. So we turn to the deep midline of the body, trusting, releasing. Make our way back slowly through some deeper breaths. Begin to wiggle your fingers, toes. Gently make your way up to a comfortable seat. Keep the eyes closed. Take a couple minutes of meditation here, contemplation. If it helps, you can use the mantra so hum, so on the in-breath, hum on the out-breath. So is I, hum is am, I am. I am that. I am that universal energy, the divine, that higher power. Sitting back on your sovereign seat in that knowingness. We'll just see ourselves going forward in our day with this deep centeredness in on our lotus throne, our sovereign throne. Staying connected to our higher self, which doesn't get knocked off the throne. And also holding our human self in love and compassion as we get knocked off our throne. So thumbs come to the third eye, take a deep breath in. And exhale, just sealing in our practice for today. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a beautiful day, and we'll see you tomorrow for our last practice. Namaste.